What's up, guys? Mustafa here. If you haven't already met me, I've been working as a software consultant, aka software salesman, for the last uh, 4 years. And prior to that, I've been in sales since I was 16 years old. I am now have been in sales for a cumulative amount of 20 years. I've been in sales for 2 decades. And one of the things that is, the talk of the town right now is AI. As you know, the biggest fear around AI is that it's going to take all our jobs, including sales. I would make the argument that one thing that AI can do is take away simple, repetitive jobs. But when you're dealing with humans on a one-on-one or one-to-many interaction base, AI will not be able to win the trust of people um, in the sense that once people know that they're dealing with an AI, their guard goes up. They're not going to be willing to be influenced because they know that they're dealing with something that is probably knows too much about them already by default, and dealing with something that doesn't really, that pretends to be emotional but isn't, right? Everybody knows that AI doesn't have emotions, and everybody knows that AI doesn't really care. It's a machine. And when you're buying an expensive, complex system, it's good to have AI for informational purposes. Tell me about this, tell me about that. But at the end of the day, it's going to be sold by the human, the person who can actually connect with the other person or the organization. And okay, maybe for simple sales, sure, like gonna check out on Amazon. I don't need a salesperson to buy something on Amazon. I don't need a salesperson to buy stuff at the grocery store, even at Best Buy. Even if I'm buying an iPhone or a high ticket electronic item like an Apple product, I don't really need a salesperson. I'm just gonna go and buy it, right? But there are certain very complex sales, aka software, if you're in the software sales industry or something like that, right? That isn't just, hey, I just need a quantity of something and it's, ubiquitous, right? So AI is not going to be able to replace complex sales jobs because, for many reasons, trust for people just would rather do business with a human being who understands their needs and someone that they can hold accountable to what they say. Everybody knows that AI is not going to be accountable for anything it says. It could say whatever it wants, and at the end of the day, it's going to hallucinate. And if you take its word for it, it's just going to say, hey, I'm just an AI. You can't take my word for anything, right? But there's something about trusting what a human says, because that human has vetted what they're saying and their experience and talking to other clients, real life situations. It's not just pretending. He's not a machine just pretending to regurgitate information. So there's going to be value in highly experienced, complex sales. If you're in a simple sales job, cars, stuff like that, I would suggest you start looking for other jobs because sales jobs for things that are fairly simple, um, those are going to start to go away, right? Because you don't need a human to negotiate the price of a car. You don't need a human to negotiate a finance agreement. These things can be delegated to machines. The other reason we had them in the past with humans is just because of the fact that there's some liability with banks and things like that, but that can easily go away. With machines, they're already using AI in the back end to make decisions, financial decisions. So why not just put them in the front end to take applications, take offers, and you know, it's pretty easy to delegate those kinds of things. Reason why it can't replace a complex sale that affects, an entire organization or company is because there's just a lot of moving parts. The one asking the questions is typically going to have experience. The salesperson asking the questions is typically going to be asking the right questions based on a sense or an intuition of that company's needs, whereas an AI can only systematically do that. And frankly, I just don't think that people care so much to talk to a salesperson in a simple sales situation versus a situation that requires a lot more longer term, repetitive discussions. There might be there might be a situation where a dealership can be run by just one person, right? You might be that one person that runs the entire dealership, but then really what you become really an AI integrator, right? And so how salespeople will evolve in the future, there'll be less salespeople, but more salespeople that are more so like AI integrators and just sort of controlling the interaction between human and machine to be able to scale. The point is that you really, if you're in a basic sales job, simple sales job, look to get into management, look to move into more complex sales jobs where it'll be harder to replace those jobs. And you want to do that sooner than later because we're talking about less than 4 years before you won't even be able to recognize yourself in the mirror in 4 years. So just look out for that.